chronic diseases like CHF, COPD, diabetes. At All County Healthcare, we teach you how to manage your disease. We make sure you know how to take your medications and how to recognize signs and symptoms before requiring hospitalization, no matter how many visits it takes. You didn't move to Florida to be sick. You moved here to enjoy the rest of your life. And that's exactly what our team of nurses, therapists, and aides at All County Healthcare help you do.
The following programming is furnished by you and your doctor.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Good evening, South Florida, and welcome back to another edition of You and Your Doctor radio show. Thank you for joining us here on this wonderful Monday evening. We've got a regular guest of ours, Mr. Ed Salazar, our respiratory therapist here at All County Healthcare. And we also have a very special guest, Mr. David Rich, a patient of our IPV therapy, along with his lovely wife, Martha. Mr. Rich was so kind enough to come in studio to tell us in detail about how effective the IPV therapy was to help him in his respiratory condition. Mr. Rich was using the IPV therapy for well over 2 months, found extremely excellent results, and he's here to share his experience with us. Once again, here's Mr. Ed Salazar and Mr. David Rich.
I'm very, very pleased to have Dave and Martha in the studio. It was great getting to know them. It was a pleasure to work with them. And I'd like them to tell just a little bit about how they came to be aware of All County Healthcare.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Durham, North Carolina. My wife's from Ecuador. So we were down in Panama, and we were ministering to some Nobe indigenous people down there, training them to go out and plant churches where they live. And we got sick. Martha got sick first, and then I got sick right after that. Martha recovered really quickly. But after about a week and a half, my oxygen started dropping, and it continued to drop, so they put me in the hospital. And they said that I probably would not live unless they put a ventilator on me. So I almost died at least twice. So the next morning, finally, my wife was calling everybody in the world to pray for me. But the next morning, my lungs sort of opened up, and I was able to breathe somewhat, still with oxygen. After that, they went ahead and sent me back to the United States on a special plane, and I went to the hospital there for a short period of time. Finally saw a pulmonologist, and he believes I have UIP, which is a fibrosis of the lungs. However, I'm supposed to be getting worse, but I'm actually getting better. So I may be having COVID pneumonia damage. So anyway, that leads me to the instrument.
Well, when I first heard from the Rich family, apparently their daughter, who is also a registered nurse, when they were given the diagnosis of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is a very, very grim diagnosis, she wouldn't settle for "there's nothing we can do." And in her research, she came across All County Healthcare as a home health agency that specialized in care of various chronic lung conditions. You looked up the agency, Martha?
Yeah.
Yes, I looked after my daughter said that there was, or the doctor told us no hope. I called my daughter, so she decided she was going to look into something and found
A phone number,
phone
and
number.
then we called
And then we called and got in touch with Ed.
with you folks.
Well, we came out, and we took. When I first met David, he had like zero exercise tolerance. He couldn't walk up, 5 stairs. He was very rapid, shallow breathing, completely oxygen dependent, and we started the IPV therapy on him. We made a few modifications to the medication. He had a very, very cooperative physician who, pretty much let us have free rein on how to handle it. And slowly, very slowly, he started to improve. And then it was all of a sudden, a huge improvement came. I think we were probably in about our second week of therapy.
Yes.
I think so. At very beginning, you told me to take a deep breath, and I just went, and you said, no, I mean a deep breath. And I said, that was my deep breath. So after a few times, it just my volume increased double, and I was able to breathe, so much better. It just rapidly increased, and that was after nothing worked, and they gave me no hope. So it made a big deal, big improvement.
And another interesting outcome was that, with the initial CT scan that Dave had done, showed very typical signs of pulmonary fibrosis. But then after he started improving, his exercise tolerance improved. He got to the point where he didn't need oxygen at night. They decided to do another CT. And there was a measurable improvement in his lungs, which isn't supposed to happen with pulmonary fibrosis.
Mm-hmm.
So now I guess they've just modified your diagnosis?
My original doctor hasn't yet, but my secondary doctor he's a friend of mine in Columbia, South Carolina. He's a pulmonary doctor. He believes that it probably is COVID-19 pneumonia damage and can be repaired.
Right.
Possibly.
So the point that we always make, we're always trying to make, John, that the IPV, we talk about how effective it is with COPD, but really any sort of chronic lung condition, and in this case it would be a very, very serious viral pneumonia.
Absolutely.
As long as you can keep those airways patent, you just keep those airways open, keep the oxygen flowing. And then, the body can do amazing things on its own.
Yeah. It also, I think that important to mention, when you were trying to hear his lungs, there was this cracking. And slowly but surely now, there's almost none. So all that gone. So it was like there was this cleaning. And then afterwards, his body took over and began to heal because there was nothing in his lungs. With his equipment, he was able to get that clean, and then he could begin to start the healing process.
Wonderful. That's very important. And Martha, during this whole illness, you stayed very strong, and you were actually taught hands-on by Mr.
Yes.
Salazar here how to give these treatments.
Yes.
How would you say it's a difficult learning curve to use the IPV therapy machine, or?
Not at all.
Okay,
Very
great.
simple. Very, very simple.
So what would you compare it to, in essence? Anything that you may have used before? Say, a lot of people like to compare it to an oversized nebulizer.
Yes.
A lot of you
Yes.
folks are familiar with a nebulizer is used typically to treat asthmatics. The IPV therapy machine is a little more complex, but it works along the same lines, but it really allows the airways to open up and move along the secretions. The secretions in the
Yeah.
lungs are what locks it down and causes that phlegm to build up.
Yes.
So-
And that's true. We used one before, and so
Nebulizer
yes, and it was very simple to do it.
Excellent.
And
It was
I-
just an additional sort of a pulsing
Yeah.
beat to it that seemed to open up my lungs.
And it's
much
that
better.
percussive action
Yeah.
that
Percussion.
opens up the airways and mobilizes the secretions.
Yes.
And it worked.
And I think Ed would probably be, the best witness to what happened because when he first started, his oxygen, as soon as he started with the machine, then his oxygen would drop to 86, 85. And then slowly but surely, as he used it more, then that oxygen began to,
And believe me, Martha was watching me like a hawk. She never
Yes.
took her eyes off that pulse oximeter.
She's a good caregiver. I tell you.
That's right. When we were in Panama, the care was very different, and I learned to just watch everything they did with David. I was constantly,
Yes.
and so when I came back here to the States, that never left. I was, and so
Absolutely.
when I met Ed, and that's another thing that I really appreciate, just his care
Yeah.
makes a huge difference to me because he gave me that assurance. He's okay. He's all right. Don't worry. Because I could see that oxygen going down, and I will,
Yeah.
I will start saying that the oxygen is going down. Is he okay? And then little by little, I learned to trust him because of the way he cared for David.
Yes, absolutely. And David, I can only imagine, as a lot of people feel, during these type of processes, and I've spoken to several of our patients over the years, a lot of people, they say that feeling of like an elephant on their chest, just struggling to get that deep breath of air is not a great feeling. And knowing that this was able to give you relief must have been so reassuring. And especially in your condition, because that was very difficult, and we can't be happier that you came here with us today to give a face and a name, folks, behind being a patient of IPV therapy. It's very important, and as Mr. Salazar here stated, with over 40 years of respiratory therapy training and hands-on capabilities, the IPV therapy, which All County Healthcare provides for our patients, can help anybody with a variety of different pulmonary ailments. We're talking everything, from pneumonia, from COPD, a variety of different COVID patients, severe asthma. All these respiratory ailments can be overcome. All we need to do is we need to work with your doctor and get a prescription, and then we move forward. So keep that in mind, folks. Call All County Healthcare anytime at 954-717-7027, and we will be happy to help you out and get you in touch with Ed.
Yeah, another point that we need to make here before the break. We say over and over, that we are a Medicare home health agency. Well, Dave was not a Medicare client. His insurance was
It was a managed care.
It was
managed
managed
care,
care.
right?
Sure, yeah.
But we have very flexible administration, and with a little bit of effort, we were able to work it out so that we were able to get the therapy to him. Because there was a limit on what we could do for him because of his insurance situation. That was when I talked it over with Dave and Martha, and we decided that if they could rent a machine for another month or so, then continue with the therapy, they'd get to the point where they are now.
Yeah.
And how would you compare your
Just
condition now?
1,000% better. I feel good, and it's not over yet, but I'm well on my way, and I have lots more hope than I did before. And I could never thank you folks enough, your company and your people and your help and your care for us. So it's worth, in my opinion, whatever you can scrape together and pay for it if your insurance doesn't pay. It's a big difference.
Well, we appreciate that, Dave. And it's been a pleasure, to work with you and get to know your family, and to watch your progress.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you letting me share.
Absolutely. Thank you. And We really appreciate that, and you said your daughter's a nurse,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And I'm sure that, she looked into this, in depth, and with her help and your research, you guys brought it together, and All County Healthcare is happy to provide, because we're here to meet the patient's needs. It's been one of our mottos for as long as we've been in existence, for over 30 years, providing care to people in the Tri-County area. We give the patients what they need, and that's what we're here for. And it's great stories like yours that really give us, our pride, our admiration, and really make us feel good when we can hear that these type of results came out.
I actually met your daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess she wanted to
came to
see
visit.
if this thing was for real or not.
Well, that's
And
That's-
then on
Well,
one
we
of
are
them-
telling all the doctors and
Yeah.
everybody we know, hey, this is work.
Yeah.
This thing works. You need to get involved with this.
yeah.
Well, the proof is he's
Yeah.
not with oxygen right now.
There's still a place for physical medicine. It's
right.
not all about the medications.
That's
yes.
right.
You're right.
Yes.
You're true. That's true.
Absolutely. And All County Healthcare does work with a number of different pulmonologists in the Tri-County area. So if any doctor wants to give us a call and you want to learn more about IPV therapy, Ed Salazar can do an in-service and come out to your office with the IPV machine and give you a full demonstration of what we can do. Please give us a call, 954-717-7027. We'll put you in touch with Ed Salazar, and we'll go from there. Thank you, folks. We will be right back after a short commercial break for some more You and Your Doctor radio show. Thank you.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027. Or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. Needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to You and Your Doctor radio show here, sponsored by All County Healthcare. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified home health agency that's been providing care to people here in South Florida for over 30 years. We cover patients from Jupiter all the way south to Miami. We cover patients, for a variety of different care. Skilled nursing, physical therapy, occupational, speech, and respiratory therapy as well. And that's what we're here today to talk about. We're here with our very own respiratory therapist, Mr. Ed Salazar. We also have Mr. David Rich and his lovely wife, Martha, here. Mr. Rich, if you're just joining us, is a patient that has been using our IPV therapy, which stands for interpulmonary percussive ventilation. It is a type of therapy that has helped many people with breathing conditions, ranging from severe pneumonia all the way through COPD and other respiratory ailments. Please give us a call anytime. We'll tell you more about it, and we'll put you in touch with Mr. Ed Salazar at 954-717-7027. Thank you again, folks. And here's Ed Salazar.
All right. We've been talking about, with Mr. Rich, and he, always on the program, we talk about COPD. And, COPD is indeed, a very, very serious problem. But we also talk about how, the therapy is good for a number of different chronic lung conditions. These can be neuromuscular. These can be traumatic. I remember we had a patient one time who had been in an automobile accident and had, real bad damage to his chest. He couldn't ventilate himself. He had to go on a ventilator, and they thought that they would never get him off. Well, we put him on IPV therapy, and this was a rehab center. And he was on therapy for about 3 months, and he progressed to the point that he walked out of the rehab facility. So, there are a lot of stories like this. I've been trying to reach another one of our patients, Mr. William Devine. He is a retired Army major, and he has your basic vanilla COPD, very severe COPD. And he was to the point where he was hospitalized 3 times in 1 year. He was hospitalized in February of 2021, and then he was hospitalized twice in October of 2021. We went to see him just right about the same time that I met Dave. And he improved to the point where he was able to, again, get off the oxygen. He didn't have to sleep with the oxygen at night. He only had to take the nebulizer treatments 2 or 3 times a day, where he had been taking them much more frequently. Last time I spoke with him, the last time that we gave him therapy on the first admission to our service, we also, as part of our protocol, we give patients a peak flow meter, and this is a way of being able to evaluate, how strong their breathing is, how strong their lungs are. And I always tell the patients when they come off service, keep this little peak flow meter and use it. And if you notice that your values and peak flow, all that is, it's the same type of device that asthmatic patients will frequently use, where if their ability to blow real hard, it's called peak expiratory flow rate. And what this is it's measured in liters per minute. So say, a nice tall guy like Dave here, he should be able to do, at least 450 liters per minute peak flow. If that drops down to, by a certain percentage, then it could be a very good indicator, a very objective indicator that he may have to resume the therapy. Well, so far he hasn't gotten to that point. But Mr. Devine, he monitored himself after he was on service with us and noticed that he started to experience a decline, and he knew that he was getting a little short of breath. So he called us. We talked with his doctor. His doctor checked him out, and his doctor agreed that maybe another course of therapy would be appropriate for him. But the point is that he went 2 to 3 months without showing any decline. When he did start to experience decline, we put him back into service. We gave him another course of therapy, per our protocol, and avoided a hospitalization. One of the big problems that always has been and still remains is that CMS is very, very annoyed at readmission rates for COPD. And it hasn't changed in 13 years. We've been monitoring it all county, right?
That's right.
Every year we look
Absolutely.
at it.
The only thing that's changed, folks, is the numbers and the fines. So all these hospitals and facilities do get fined quite a bit if they get the patient rehospitalized within that 15-day period or even that 30-day period. Of course, if it's within the 15 days, it's a higher percentage of fine, and it's something they're constantly trying to work on. And we at All County Healthcare have been able to help quite a bit. Matter of fact, one study that we did, we helped reduce them to under 5%. And that was very, very important. We were happy to provide those services. We work with a number of different hospitals in the Memorial Healthcare System, the Broward Health System, and as well as Tenet up in Palm Beach County.
In West Palm Beach, yeah, with Good Sam, Good Samaritan Hospital. They got to the point where all of their patients that were admitted for COVID pneumonia,
absolutely,
on discharge, they were routinely putting them into our service, and we would run them to the very same protocol that we put you through, Dave. And to my knowledge, not a single one of them had required readmission to the hospital.
That's absolutely fabulous. And folks, if you're out there, case managers listening in, administrators of hospitals, we're here for you. We have several very experienced field agents out there that can meet with you, community liaisons, patient liaisons, if you would, that can come and put on an in-service demonstration of any of the services. This one specifically here with IPV therapy, Ed Salazar will head up himself. Please feel free to give us a call or reach out to us via email at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can call us anytime, 954-717-7027. We'd be happy to send Ed or a representative out to provide our in-service training on interpulmonary percussive ventilation. Very happy to do that.
Our pulmonary hygiene team has a number of very, very capable nurses.
Absolutely.
I've worked with a dozen or so nurses now through the course of this program, and we have a very, very capable team.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, and that we hope this will change, but currently Medicare will not pay for respiratory therapists in home care. So that's why we've been obligated to train our nursing personnel to deliver the therapy. Yeah. But as Martha pointed out, the therapy, it can be learned, and it can be given very effectively. David's living proof of that.
Absolutely. And once again, folks, we've got to thank Mr. David Rich and his wife Martha for joining us here. The segment went very quickly, but it was very important. Your testimonial is hands-on, word from your mouth to our folks out there that there is help. We are here to help provide the care for you. Please give us a call. We can definitely help you or a loved one. Even if you have the simplest questions, or connect us with your doctor, we'd be happy to reach out to your doctor or a loved one and explain in more detail how IPV therapy can help ones out. Want to thank you again for joining us here, folks, at You and Your Doctor radio show. This has been another segment here, and you have a good evening. Drive safe, and once again, give All County Healthcare a call. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers.